Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Copper Jacket TV. So we've talked quite a bit over the past month or so about all of the different gun control bills that have failed this year in the state of California. These are bills that in my mind would typically pass, but this year, for whatever reason, some of it has to do with the state budget and some of it has to do with the advocacy from the CRPA and their efforts. But there are some major victories that we've had, like SB 1160, which was the annual registration scheme that they tried to pass. That is no longer. Unfortunately, there are still some bills that are moving forward, and these are pretty major bills that are going to have a huge impact on the state if they actually pass and get signed by the governor. So let's talk about the one, what I think is at least the most important one that's left, and that's going to be SB 53. You guys are definitely going to want to hear about this one, so stay tuned. Now, before we get started, I know I mentioned this quite a bit, but more than half the people that watch these videos are still not yet subscribed. If you don't mind, hit that subscribe button. It's free. It only takes a second, but it really helps us expand and grow and get our message out to more people. If you're somebody that wants to stay on top of your constitutional rights, go ahead and hit that little alarm bell. I've been doing this for about 12 years now, and we're going to keep pushing forward. So a huge thank you to everybody that supported this channel up until this point, and a thank you to everybody who subscribes today. Let's get to it. Okay, so let's go and talk about SB 53. This is a very bad one that we have not talked about on this channel yet, and this one is still live. Now, this one is so bad that it could see you lose your Second Amendment rights for a period of 1 year for something that is technically considered an infraction. We're talking about a simple ticket, $500 fine, an infraction. And with that, you would still lose your rights for 1 year. So let's dive into SB 53 and what it's all about. So SB 3 is one of those very sneaky bills. We've talked about the gut and amend process on this channel multiple times. That's where they remove the language from one bill, even after it's gone through some of the process required to pass a bill, and they replace it with something else. Sometimes that works in our favor, and other times it works against us. This is one of those times where it has worked against us because this bill originally started off life as a bill to do with income taxes and taxes for the motion picture industry. So again, that's how the bill was introduced. It had to do with taxes. The motion picture industry gets introduced. It makes it a certain amount of distance in the legislature of California, and then they remove all of that language and they replace it with something else. And what they replaced it with was new safe storage laws. Now, with this new safe storage laws, they're changing a lot, including the penalties. And like I said before, the penalties for not storing things the way they want you to store them in this bill, even if it's something that's minor, and this extends from your home, your vehicle, your hotel, your tent, anywhere where somebody could presumably stay, that minor infraction would force you to lose your rights for up to a year. I think it's a minimum of a year, actually. Let's just go ahead and read the amended introduction to this bill, because originally, again, it started off motion picture, and then they changed that, they got it and amended it, and now they've amended it more than once, and this is how it reads now. Okay, so you can see from this image right here that we have two different types of text. The red text is the text that was removed. That's from the original bill. So that's the original bill language. It has a strike through it. The blue text is the new language that was added to the bill. So again, red is gone, blue is in. So you can see that the original text of this bill was about income taxes, tax credits, and motion picture credits, and that's been replaced with firearm storage. So let's just go ahead and read this real quick. I know the text can be kind of small. It says, existing law generally regulates the possession of firearms, including imposing storage requirements to prevent children from gaining access. This bill would, beginning on July 1st, 2025, prohibit a person from keeping or storing a firearm in a residence owned or controlled by that person unless the firearm is stored in a locked box or safe that is listed on the Department of Justice list of approved firearm safety devices and is properly engaged so as to render it inaccessible by any person other than the owner. Now, they do provide the definition of residence down below, and it basically expands to anywhere where you lay your head at night. So it could be a hotel, it could be an Airbnb, it could be a campsite where you're just sleeping in a hammock or a tent. It doesn't matter. That's what they're considering a residence. Now it says this bill would make a first violation of this offense punishable as an infraction and a second or subsequent violation punishable as a misdemeanor. Now, if we scroll down a bit, this is where they talk about the 1-year prohibition. It says, this bill would additionally prohibit any person convicted under these provisions, so it could be anything from the infraction to the misdemeanor, from owning, purchasing, receiving, or possessing a firearm within 1 year of the conviction as specified. So as you can see right there, what they're really doing with this is they're expanding on the punishments for violating a safe storage law, because safe storage laws already exist in California. If there's somebody who is under 18, they have to be locked up and put away, and there's already a list from the DOJ of what is approved. And trust me, if you're watching this, you're not from California, yes, they actually do have approved safes, approved boxes, approved locks. Everything's got to be on that DOJ's list. And I think that's probably where a lot of people would get hung up, is you get something from Amazon, right, which you think is going to be fine because it requires a key. You can lock it up, swallow, throw away the key, whatever. It doesn't really matter. Even though nobody can access it now that the key is gone, if it's not on that California DOJ list, then guess what? You would be in violation of this, and even that minor infraction with just a small fine of $500 would still be enough for you to lose your rights for a year. And that is the main goal of this bill, to get as many people caught up in this, as many people hung up in this as possible, so that they can take away people's rights for that time period. Anything that you own at the time would have to be transferred out, would have to be given away, whatever. It could no longer be in your possession. You would lose the right to acquire, the right to use, all of it. Your rights would essentially be gone even after that minor infraction. Now, could something like this actually pass? Well, it's pretty extreme. It's by Portantino. I mean, what do you expect, right? But you really can never say never in the state of California. I mean, in most other states, I would say absolutely not. There's no way this could possibly pass. An infraction prohibiting you from one of your fundamental rights? No, that's not a thing. But in California, like I said, I mean, you can never say never. Something like this absolutely could pass. And then you have the California court system, which likes to drag their feet on things like this for years. I mean, we've been talking about cases that have been going for nearly a decade now, and people haven't had any type of relief in those cases, and you know, they've been bounced around the court system. So something like this, if it passed, even though I feel like we could win, it could still exist for quite a long time. So this is early enough now where we could actually make a change just by contacting our legislature. You know, talk to your legislator, let them know, hey, I don't support this. This is something that can't be allowed to pass, and so forth, and make your voice heard. That is such an important thing that I don't think people give too much credit to, but you have to do it, especially if you want to see stuff like this fail. A lot of things are failing because of the budget. There's just no money to implement new programs and you know, new things like this, especially when it comes to educating the public on these new laws. All of that takes money. And so right now with that deficit, they're having a hard time, and hopefully this one falls into that category as well. But in the meantime, make that phone call, send that email, let them know what your thoughts are on it. And I want to thank you all very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please like, subscribe. You guys have a great day.